Hello, I'm Joshua Lindsey, and I would like to welcome you to episode 3B of Joshua T. Lindsey TV, entitled Vocabulary Revisited. There were a few things that I wanted to touch on that I forgot to mention because I was interrupted by someone who came to my door. Actually, that's my mom. I live with my mom and my dad and my brother and his girlfriend. And my mom opened the door and didn't realize I was videotaping. And so I forgot some of the things I was going to say. First of all, as a side note, if you're thinking about starting a blog or a video blog, one of the things that I know from watching a Social Media Examiner podcast with Michael Stelzner is that if you're going to start a um, podcast, a blog, or a video blog, or sometimes called a vlog, that people suggest that you just start videotaping. And unless you make some major errors or something, just keep the camera rolling or put a YouTube video up there with mistakes, because contrary to what other people think, when you take a video down off of YouTube, you can take the video down off the main portal of YouTube, and all of the other videos will either be disabled or exhibit static instead of the original YouTube videos. So the only thing you have to be concerned about is if someone downloaded your video. But to that, I would say, if you didn't put anything objectionable in your video to begin with, then you should not have to worry too much about whether people download your videos and watch them. And now I would like to get into my topic for this episode, which was um, vocabulary revisited. One of my friends commented on my last episode, Corey Knowles, and said that she had never thought about how we refer to people who have died in the past tense, which as I said in the previous episode, it goes against our belief system, because if we believe in eternal life and life after this life, or a continuation of life, or a second phase of life, then a person does not cease to be a person once they die. Something that I would like to add to that is that whether or not you believe in heaven or in an afterlife, as I have heard one of the priests that I used to listen to, Father John Karabi, say, whether you believe in an afterlife, a heaven, or a bad state of existence such as hell, if those things exist, which I am thoroughly convinced that they do, they exist, whether you believe they exist or not. Simply not believing that something does not exist does not mean that it doesn't exist. I think that it's easier to understand the nature of a God who is invisible and yet exists in the modern age, because we have a lot of friends on Facebook. I have a best friend that I've never met on the internet, but I know she exists because we talk on the internet a lot. And I know that my friends on Facebook exist because I don't I talk to them on the internet. I know my mom exists because she goes to work. I do not assume that because I can't see my mom or I can't see my internet friends that they are not alive anymore. One of the things that John Piaget of psychology stated was that kids believe in a thing. I believe he called it the continuity of existence, or I'm not exactly sure what it was. It's been 10 years since I got my psychology degree, but he stated that children have a hard time realizing that something that existed before it exists, even though it is out of sight. I think it was called object permanency. Yes, object permanency. Anyway, we can see how object permanency and not seeing a God but believing that a God is there works now in the modern age because of the internet and the fact that we can know that there are other people out there using computers that we may or may not ever meet, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And if I didn't believe that you guys exist, I would not be doing this blog, because I would just be talking to myself, and it would be better for me to just turn around and talk to that orange wall, because if you don't exist, then I might as well talk to something that I know exists. I know the wall won't talk back to me, but I know that if I think that you guys don't exist, then why should I be talking to you? And I know that you guys can respond to me, and I know that you guys can respond to me and be and actively participate in discussions with me, even though I can't see you because of the internet. So in that sense, it's better to talk to you than the orange wall. And of course, it's impossible for me to care about an orange wall because it has no feelings, because it's not a person, because it does not have any power to change things positively. It cannot be my friend, which all of you have the ability to do, and I am grateful that you can be that way. That analogy might seem comical, but my point is that I know that you guys care about me, love me, and can correspond with me, even though I can't see you. I don't have a narcissistic delusion. I know that there are people that love me, like me, dislike me, or even hate me, but I'm saying that a person has the capability to love me and a wall does not. That is why I find it curious that a lot of people say that I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, um, and I believe in the Holy Spirit, and I believe in the resurrection from the dead, and in that expression of belief, I find an inherent sense of doubt. I believe in Jesus Christ, saying that I strongly think there is a Jesus Christ, but I don't know. Now, Jesus Christ was a historical figure, and I talked last episode about how Jesus Christ demonstrated his divinity by, in the last episode I mentioned that he demonstrated his divinity by falling 3 times on the hill to Gethsemane and asking Jesus Christ to take the cup away from him, the cup of suffering away from him, if it was his will, 3 times to represent the eternity. He also performed a lot of miracles. Historical scholars that I took classes from in college said that perhaps the reason that he performed miracles in more abundance than we might see or witness today is because he wanted to demonstrate his divinity and establish his authority. Now, I do not necessarily believe that there are a lesser amount of miracles um, that are done today by Jesus Christ. I think that we do not we may not attribute them to being miracles because our human nature tries to explain them away with science, and we get really upset when we can't explain Jesus with science. Now, Jesus is something that can goes beyond logic, and the scripture says, so far are God's thoughts above man's thoughts, and something like, and man's vision above, I mean God's vision above man's vision, that we can't possibly understand them within the confines of logic, and that makes a lot of us uncomfortable. Furthermore, I believe that miracles are in more abundance than they appear to be, even from a biblical perspective, because in the end of the Bible, or in the end of the Gospels, at least one of them, it says that there are many more miracles recorded by Jesus Christ than are written in this book. But the pages of this Bible could not contain them, nor pages of many more volumes could contain them. So I think that, as I've heard from other scholars, that Jesus simply performed miracles primarily to establish his divinity, secondarily, of course, to help people, and third of all, he may have, and he probably did, perform more miracles than he did in the Bible, but we just don't have the space or the time to talk about everything that he did for us. I think that I'm looking at a crucifix, and for those of you who are not Catholic, we believe that a crucifix is actually, we know that a crucifix is a cross with the corpus or the body of Jesus Christ on the cross. And what I've been taught through my Catholic education is that the Bible, the corpus on the cross is not there to be a gruesome spectacle, or to say that Jesus Christ did not resurrect from the dead, and that there was nothing beyond Jesus Christ. For indeed, scholars have said, if including Paul of Tarsus, for indeed if Jesus Christ did not rise from the dead, then our faith in Jesus Christ is in vain, because Christ would have been just another person who had died in a tragic way, and an unacceptable way, in a torturous way, but he would not have been the Jesus Christ that we adore and glorify now, because he would not have risen from the dead and ultimately proved his divinity if he did not rise from the dead. All this to say that we believe that a corpus on the cross reminds us that his suffering and death and his resurrection and victory over that suffering and death is the essence of his sacrifice for us. His getting off the cross was the final act of his passion and death for us, but his real sacrifice includes both the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ from the cross. I know that I'm running a little bit late on this video, but I hope that you are enjoying it. I would also like to say that in church we say that we proclaim your death, O Lord, but profess your resurrection until you come again. Now, I do not mean this to criticize the Catholic Church at all, or the Christian Church, if any of the other Christian denominations say this, but to proclaim a death, the word proclaim means that you announce something that you have seen, and the word profess means that you teach something that you believe. Now, proclaiming the resurrection suggests that we have witnessed the death of Jesus Christ, and none of us alive today have seen Christ die. So we cannot proclaim that. We would have to it is silly to assume that we could proclaim that, because we did not see that happening, but we know I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to gather my thoughts. Anyway, um, what I was saying that it is silly to say that we proclaim his death and profess his resurrection, uh, rather than saying that we, uh, rather than saying either that we profess both of them or believe both of them. We have the testimony of apostles and the testimony of um, followers of Jesus Christ who have seen him alive. We have visionaries throughout the early centuries who have seen him alive. So why would we proclaim something that we have never seen and profess it? Why wouldn't we do? Why wouldn't we do the same thing to either each one of those verbs? Why would it be any different? Um, for my part, I know that Jesus died for me, and I know that he rose from the dead. And I think that if we talk in more definite language, even though we may not believe what we believe, it will make our faith stronger. Not that we're lying, because if we knew for a fact that Jesus did not um, die and did not resurrect from the dead, then that would be a lie. But we're not saying that we know this to be not true. We're saying that we believe that Jesus died and rose. And I think that it's more powerful to say that we know that he uh, died and rose, because it would lend more conviction to our faith if we said that we know that we have blessed assurance and we know for certain that Jesus died, and we know for certain that he rose from the dead, and we know for certain that we're going to heaven. If we say that we believe, or like halfway in between, I don't know if I believe this, and yes, I believe it. So either we don't believe something, or we totally believe it. Let's not be in that middle state of, I hope this is, and I partially know this, but I don't know, because that doesn't make much sense. Either we're not believers or we're believers. Let's try and get out of that middle ground. Um, and I think that it was better to keep the camera rolling other than to edit this, because I think it is important for you to for us to discuss and to hear what I said before I started having difficulty communicating what I was going to say. Of course, you have full control over your video player. If you get frustrated with my ramblings, or you don't want to listen to them, of course you can stop the video at any time. You can also, if you want to hear more from me, you can subscribe at the bottom of this video. You can like the video. If you like it on Facebook, it will only appear on my Facebook page. But if you like it on YouTube, you can either save it in your videos, subscribe to my videos, or comment below. If you're not on YouTube and you don't know how to get to YouTube, there is a on the bottom of all YouTube videos, it'll say YouTube logo. You click on that logo, and it'll bring you to the page on YouTube, the page on YouTube under which my video is hosted. And there you can comment on YouTube, and that means more for my channel than if you comment on Facebook. Of course, you can comment on Facebook, but again, it's more fun and more it'll reach more people if you come to the YouTube site and make your comments. I would be happy to talk with you about any of the things that I've talked about today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for your patience when I started rambling or fumbling over my words, but I think that it is of utmost importance, if you have content that you want to get out there, to just get it out there, like the Social Media Examiner by Michael Stelzner said, rather than just never getting videos up there because you can't get them perfect enough. So, thank you. The next episode, I will be talking about I will be talking about more about my acting ability, maybe even reciting a monologue or performing a short one-act play, maybe with some a few characters, and me voicing all of the different characters, or so maybe even with one character. I also hope to do a one act play that I write about FDR, because I was FDR in Annie in December, and I watched documentaries about him, and I really got into the character, and I thought that it might be cool to write a one-man play, especially about what it might have been like if he was president of the United States and was more open about his disability and more appreciative of the people that tried to help him with his disability. And that if he didn't shy away from his disability and kind of, you know, proverbially, I got that word out, proverbially, bit the hand that fed him, he would have had a happier life and perhaps been a more effective president. I'm not saying that every person with a disability should do everything for the sake of publicizing their disability, because a person is more than their disability. But I'm saying that a person might not need to hide behind his disability. And you don't know what what things that you can do with your disability until you get out there and try it. So that's just a preview of what I might be doing in future episodes. I'm going to say bye until next time. This has been Joshua Lindsey TV, the episode 3B, vocabulary continued. Thank you, and have a great day.